Yeah, it's kind of funny that that alarm went by. Just thinking out loud, but I just thought that a little funny as I was hitting the button that ambulance went by. But I'd like to start out by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. This one pretty much is called Addressing Points. Today's date is August 19th, 2020, year of prophecy. And pretty much, you know, this is just addressing, you know, some different points, you know, things that are said, you know, things like, for instance, today being the memorial of blowing of the trumpets. I'm going to deal with a couple of points on that. A couple of things that Vocab said, and pretty much one of the things that he echoes, you know, some other individuals have tried to bring it up before. So Lord's will we could address it in brief, you know, in this lesson. And Lord's will it'll be edifying. Your brothers can be edified. And, you know, just use it for your spiritual arsenal. The first issue I want to deal with, or the first point I want to address, is you know, a couple of things on the memorial of blowing of the trumpets. It's pretty much a memorial, you know, every month on the new moon the trumpets will be blown, as your brothers know in the scriptures, which Lord's will we're going to get that also. And there were certain ways that the trumpet was blown for different events, different situations. And we're going to go through some points in Acts, Numbers, the 10th chapter, which the brother, the up and coming elder, Karatazar, out in Vegas, you know, touched on already when he went into the feast of memorial of blowing the trumpets. I know the brother said don't call him an elder, you know, and I know that's out of humility, you know. I mean, I'll say he's an up and coming elder, you know. He's been in this, you know, at least 10 years, but you know, everything in his time. I just wanted to say that, you know, so there'll be no conflict, you know, so people don't be like, hey, well, he said this, you said that. Well, we're saying the same exact thing. How about that? Anyways, this is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14, you know, dealing with the memorial of blowing of the trumpets and just the whole trumpet thing, you know, because the trumpet had many different uses, you know. One of the uses was calling the people together in an assembly. Another use was calling only the elders. Another use was different alarms that would be sounded for war. A certain way the trumpet would be blown with the alarm, would set up certain of the tribes, whether they were in the east or the west or the north or the south, to go, you know, down into the battle, so on and so forth. You know, I mean, I know the brother, the elder Manat Zagba, is live. You know, I hope he just, you know, keeps going, because it sounded like the spirit was on him. You know, but I just want to, you know, bring out these points. You know, we have a saying, you know, which is an old saying, strike while the iron's hot, you know, so I'm just trying to strike while the iron's hot. So I just hope the brother doesn't stop his lesson because I'm doing mine, you know, especially if he's in the spirit, you know. Scripture says, quench not the spirit, so let the brother keep teaching and doing his thing. And, you know, Lord's will, if he gets a chance, he could come back later and watch this video, you know, if the spirit hits him. But so there were different sounds of the trumpet. You know, whether you blowing a trumpet or whether you sounding an alarm, so on and so forth. And this is why the Apostle Paul said this in 1 Corinthians 14. I'll start at 7. It says, and even things without life giving sound, meaning like trumpets or flutes, you know, different harps or guitar, whatever, you know. It says, and even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction, see? Except they give a distinction in the sounds, how shall it be known what is pipe or harp? Yeah, because you have different songs out there that have different melodies, different chords, different, you know, strumming of guitar, piano, you know, whatever the case is. And you know that particular, or what particular song is coming on based off of the beat, so to speak. You know, back then, you know, they used to use actual live instruments, so you could tell a distinction within each song, even though you could have had the same, you could have had a person that did an album, and the album could have been 12 songs long, you know, 10 songs long, you know, I'm talking about real songs, and they could have all, each one of those songs could have all had the same instruments playing, but they were all playing a little different, so you could tell a distinction between the different tunes, right? So this is equivalent to the trumpets. When you go back and you read it, you know, you had different sounds of the trumpet, whether it was a sound or whether it was an alarm, so that the people could know, you know, what to expect or what to do, right? It says, for if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? Yeah, because you blow the trumpet as a gathering, holy convocation, a gathering of the congregation, or a gathering of the elders only, or for war. So it says, for if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? And this is what we're doing. We're blowing a trumpet, which is an alarm of war. In this case, spiritual war, because the Lord is about to make his second coming. It says, so likewise ye, except you utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall it be known what is spoken? For you shall speak into the air, right? And what the Apostle Paul was speaking about here was speaking in different languages and not having anyone there to interpret. It wasn't talking about that charismatic movement that they have in these different churches where they say they're speaking in tongues and then you know, and all that other madness and all that other crap. That's exactly what it is, crap. You're speaking in another tongue. When you go into the translation of another tongue, I believe it's heteroglossos. And hetero means other, glossos is tongue. Another tongue, meaning another language. Not that madness that they spew in these charismatic movement churches. That's nothing more but a gimmick, you know, to get people to join. All right, so now that we got that out the way, let's go to Numbers, the 10th chapter, and let's try to read some of these verses. It says, Numbers chapter 10 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, make thee 2 trumpets of silver. Yeah, because you had ram's horns, you know, and you had trumpets that were made out of different metals, you know, some that were made out of silver, some that were made out of brass, so on and so forth. It says, that thou mayest use them, see, for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps. Yeah, another sound of the trumpet would be the coming of the new moon or of a high holy day, a feast day. It would also be, all right, Israel, it's time to move to the next location. So let's close up shop and let's go to the next location. Boom. And that's how it was done back then, you know? So it says, so now what I want to do is, because I looked up a couple of these words, I want to look up the word calling. Just bear with me 1 second while this thing loads up real quick. And we're going to go to the book of Numbers, the 10th chapter and the 2nd verse. And we have the word there for calling. And the word for calling is ma-quara-ah. And this is also going to be used in another word that we're going to look up in the Hebrew, but the word ma-quara-ah. Now the word ma-quara-ah, I'm going to read what it means, but ma-quara-ah is a compound word, and I'll break it down for you. It says ma-quara-ah, convocation, convoking, reading, or calling together. Convocation, sacred assembly, convoking, reading. You know, so it was an assembly. Now the word ma-quara-ah, being a compound word, the ma at the beginning of a word, if it's not connected to the word, is of or from. And then the word quara-ah means calling, of or from calling. So this calling was when they called the people in. But remember, Israel was huge. So how can you call the people in? You can't just send somebody out there and start running around. Yo, come to the. You know, we're about to have an assembly. You know. So what would they do? They would actually blow the trumpet, and depending on the sound of the trumpet or how many times it sounded, either only the elders would convene or come together, or the whole congregation. Right. So this is a calling, and then let's go to the word assembly, which the word assembly is also another word in there that we're going to deal with, you know, later on in the lesson, Lord's will. So the word there for assembly is aidah, congregation, gathering. So it's the congregation or the gathering of the people. So an assembly is also what? The congregation. All right. Now, as we read the third verse, and when they shall blow. Matter of fact, let me read 2 again, just to recap. Verse 2, it says, "Make the 2 trumpets of silver of a whole piece, shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly and for the journeying of the camps." Now verse 3, "And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation." And when we look up the word congregation in verse 3, what we get is the same word that we got for assembly, but instead of the aidah, it's mawa'aidah or mawa'aid or mawa'aid. Okay, ma'aid or mawa'aidah or mawa'aid, which is a variation of the word assembly, which is the word aidah. Okay, and you can look it up for yourself, so you can be more in tune with it in case you don't really fully understand. Matter of fact, this is the word for, I don't know if you can see that. That's the word for congregation. Mawa'aidah, ma'aid, mawa'aid. Right? Before I read the definition, when we go to the word assembly, you have the word there, aidah, see? So the mawa'aidah is of assembly or of congregation. So we have an appointed place, appointed time, meeting, appointed time, general, sacred season, set feast, appointed season, appointed meeting, appointed place, appointed sign or signal, tent of meeting. So the congregation would come together. Now, what does the word congregation mean? When we look up the word congregation in the common dictionary, as you can see there, it says a group of people who adhere to a common faith and habitually attend a given church. Now, what does the word church mean? The word church comes from the Greek or the Latin ecclesia. Ek means out, and ecclesia means to call, from kalein, to call. So ecclesia or church means calling out. And this is how because back then you didn't have any buildings. That's what the Lord said, He don't dwell in temples made with hands. So when the trumpet would be blown, the people would congregate. So today when we're out there teaching and blowing a trumpet with our voices, the people congregate. You know, and this time it's only the elect, but back then it was all of Israel. Now, when we look up the word congregation in the etymology, I won't show it because you can't really see it that good. Congregation, late 14th century, congregation, a gathering, assembly, a crowd, an organized group of a religious order or body of scholars, of congregating, from Old French congregation, and directly from Latin congregationem. Let's jump down. Stem congregare, to herd together, H-E-R-D, which is a herd is what? Cattle or sheep. In this case, sheep, which is a representation of the children of Israel, which are compared to sheep. It says collect in a flock. See? Swarm, assemble, from kam or khan, which is together, and gregare, to collect into a flock. So the word congregation literally means with the flock. So who is the flock? The nation of Israel. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the congregation of the flock of the sheep of the Lord of the nation of Israel. All right? So that was the purpose of the blowing of the trumpet. And the blowing of the trumpet also would bring in what? That would also be a convocation. Let's read that real quick. Leviticus 23. And if this is boring to you, then hit the button and get the hell out. Go somewhere else. Leviticus 23 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts. Now the word holy convocation there in the book of Leviticus 23 and 2 is ma'quara'ah, which is the same word that we just read for the word assembly. So assembly and convocation are the same word, ma'quara'ah, which means of or from calling. And the word calling and convocation, the word calling and convocation are the same words, and the word assembly and congregation are the same words. All right, when you go back to the Hebrew. I hope I'm not losing anybody. So let's go back to Numbers chapter 10. And let's go, you can read the rest of it, but I want to hit verse 10 real quick. It says, and in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months. See? So every new moon, you will blow the trumpet. But on the memorial of the blowing of the trumpet, you will blow from the morning to the evening. It says, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before your power. I am the Lord your power. And that's the bottom line. It was a memorial. And it was done to the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai. So when you had the feast and you were eating, you pretty much were having a feast, in thankfulness, in a memory and remembrance of the blessings of the Lord, and just as a monthly memorial, a monthly thing. That's why every new moon, the trumpet will be blown, as we're going to read here in Psalms 81. And that would also let the people know, all right, the new moon's coming in, which is a Sabbath, blase. So let's go real quick to the book of Psalms, chapter 81, and then we can move to the next point. Psalms 81 and 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in a time appointed on our solemn feast days. Yeah, and in the new moon it would be blown, And then you had high holy days that fell in the middle of the month, you know, which also you would blow trumpets. In the middle of the month would be what? The full moon. Because at the beginning of the month, the light would be very, very dim, you know. Some people call it a dark moon, but it's not really a dark moon because the moon was given as a light, you know. So if it's very dim, it's still a light, but it's very dim. And then as a month progresses, it starts to increase. And by the middle of the month, it's fully lit, you know, or fully brightened up. And then after the middle of the month, as it starts going into the end of the month, then the light starts getting smaller and smaller, you know. And then when you don't when you see it darkened, you can't or not that bright, that would be the a new moon. And then from that point on, you will start to see the first sliver, and you know, and then and it will get brighter and brighter. And that's been the ordinance from the creation all the way up until now. All right, and it's still the same thing. So why was that done? Why does the moon go through all them different cycles? Because the moon is a sign of feast, but it's also the sign of times. You know, it's set for times and for seasons, and that is our calendar. The moon is our calendar. The moon and the sun, because they work in conjunction. But the moon is a calendar because the month is called after the moon's name. And then you have 12 months, you know, that separate the year. You see, and you have four seasons that are separated by 3 months each. So it's very simple, very logical, very practical. You know, this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Lord. But man makes it complicated, especially Esau. So now what I want to do is I want to move on to the next point. And the next point is dealing with Caleb, because you have this false doctrine out there by vocab. And vocab, people think that vocab invented that. You know, Caleb is an Edomite. This is something that goes way back, man. You had other clowns that tried to bring that up, you know, years ago. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemal Shai, they got shut down. All right. Now, Caleb is not an Edomite. Caleb is an Israelite of the tribe of Judah. Now, what I want to do is we're going to read Numbers 13. We're going to hit a couple of points, and then we're going to jump to other chapters to show you that Caleb is not an Edomite. But let me look up this precept that I wrote down here. I just want to, make sure what it says. Let's see. Okay. So Numbers 13:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Send out men, that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give unto the children of Israel, of every tribe of their fathers. Shall you send a man, every one a ruler among men. So the Lord gave Moses specific instructions to send men to spy out the land of Canaan. And he specifically told them to send men out of every tribe of their fathers. Shall you send a man, every one a ruler among them. So the Lord didn't say send a representative. You could send a Moabite or whatever. Well, Moab was in their land, Ammon was in their land, which that's, Lord's what we're going to get to that too. But the Lord specifically told Moses to send a representative, a head of each of the tribes of the nation of Israel. He didn't tell him to send a representative of another nation to represent that tribe. And here it is, out of all those Judites that you have, you mean to tell me that you didn't have not one Judite that was competent enough as a leader to go and spy out the land? The Lord had to go get an Edomite to represent the tribe of Judah? Are you insane? These people are bugged up, but you know what? You have these Israelites out there that will believe it. Why? Because it's coming out of the mouth of an Edomite. You know? They won't believe it unless an Edomite says it. So now, as we read further down, right, and, verse 3, and Moses, by the commandment of the Lord, sent them from the wilderness of Paran. All those men were heads of the children of Israel. They were Israelites, and they were heads, men that were respected, men that were renowned, that had a good name. It says, and these are their names: of the tribe of Reuben, Shemur, the son of Sakur; of the tribe of Simeon, Shaphat, the son of Hori; of the tribe of Judah, Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, or Jephunneh. All right. So the Lord said that. So as you read on down, it says, of the tribe of Issachar, the tribe of Ephraim, the tribe of Benjamin, of the tribe of Zebulun, of the tribe of Joseph, namely the tribe of Manasseh, of the tribe of Dan, of the tribe of Asher, the tribe of Naphtali, the tribe of Gad. So they sent the Lord had Moses send a representative out of each tribe. He sent a leader of that tribe, of their respective tribe, to be aspired, 12 altogether. So he didn't send no goddamn Edomite, because you didn't have Edomites among Israel at that time. Esau was in their land. So now, since we made that point, matter of fact, let me read this scripture, and then we can move on. 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 18, right? It says, I'm sorry, not 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel chapter 1 verse 18. I started 17. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. So the King David bade the Judites to teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. So here it is. King David is a Judite, a mighty man. You had mighty men of the tribe of Judah, men that will go out and fight, hundreds of men by themselves. Take down. Had some of the top warriors that were taking down these different nations. But you didn't have not one Judite back then in the wilderness that could represent the tribe of Judah. The Lord had to get an Edomite. Come on, man. Stop it, man. Stop it. This shit is getting ridiculous. Now, let's jump from there. Let's go to now check this out. Let's go to the book of Numbers. Same book of Numbers, chapter 20. Because they're saying that that Caleb was an Edomite, right? So let's read this real quick. Numbers chapter 20, verse 14. And when Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of who? King of Edom. So this is in the wilderness, passing through the land of Edom. But before Moses was able to go through the land of Edom, he sent messengers to the king of Edom, right? And this is what he said: Thus saith thy brother Israel, thou knowest all the travail that hath befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice and sent an angel, and hath brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost of thy border. Let us pass, I pray thee, through thy country. We will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed thy borders. Now check it out. And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. So now wait a minute. If Caleb was an Edomite, you don't think he could have said, well, look, fellow Edomite, my brother, can we pass through? I'm here with these people. I've witnessed all this stuff. You know, can't you let us pass through? You know, so we are of the same tribe. We're Edomites. See how ridiculous that sounds? There were Israelites that were passing through these different lands. And this is at the end of their travels through the wilderness. So the mixed multitude had already died off. And it doesn't say who the mixed multitude was, but the Edomites were already in their land, because remember, the Lord gave the possession to all these different nations, pursuant to Deuteronomy 32. The Lord divided the inheritance of these nations before we got our inheritance. We got our inheritance last. So how come Caleb couldn't talk to the king of Edom and persuade him and say, well, listen, you know, I'm a fellow Edomite. You know, can we pass through? We're not going to eat anything, you know, unless we pay for it. We're just going to pass through the King's Highway. We're just trying to get through to the other side. You see how ridiculous this is? This is madness. This is blasphemy of vocab and them devils. The nerve of them to try to elevate an Edomite to that position. And the nerve of you guys out there in Israel to try to elevate an Edomite to the position of Cornelius, who was an Israelite. So it goes on to say, and the children of Israel said unto him, we will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of thy water, then I will pay for it. I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. So if Caleb was an Edomite, how come he couldn't persuade the king of Edom to let them go through? You guys are ridiculous, man. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his border, wherefore Israel turned away from him. And that's one of the reasons why the Lord is going to judge Esau and judge them, you know, and will judge them among many things. So now let's go from there to the book of Malachi to make the last point in this topic. Let's go to Malachi chapter 1. This is out of the Most High's mouth, you know. I didn't say it. You didn't say it. He didn't say it. The Father said it. Inside joke. Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? So the Lord is speaking to the nation of Israel, that he loves us. So Jake is asking, how have you loved us? How have you loved us? The Lord's response was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob and I hated Esau. So the Most High hates Esau. So how come, why is it that these people always try to find, they don't worry about the Moabites, they don't worry about the Ammonites, they don't worry about the Hamites, they don't worry about the Ishmaelites or the Edomites. It's always Edom. It's always the Edomites. Why are they so concerned with bringing salvation to Esau when Esau is not going to receive salvation? The Lord said he loved Jacob and he hated Esau. Remember, there were two opposing forces, the forces of good and the forces of evil. Jacob being the forces of good, Esau being the forces of evil. So the Lord said he hated Esau. So how in the fuck can Caleb be an Edomite when the Most High hates the Edomites? What madness is this, man? But a lot of you out there swallowing that. You're caught up in that web, man. That Caleb was an Edomite. Job was an Edomite. Come on, man. Come on. It says, and I hated Esau and laid his mountain and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. So these people are the wicked. So how in the hell can Caleb be can Caleb be an Edomite and be the one that led, the leader of the tribe of Judah, that led a campaign of spying into the land of Canaan? You know, when the Most High hates the Edomites, the Most High says that the Edomites are the wicked. The Most High says, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So he has indignation against these people forever, but yet still in all, these devils are going to say that Caleb was an Edomite? Come on, man. Come on. Cut that shit out. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is a Greek way of saying Edom, and upon the people of my curse to judgment. So these people have been cursed with the curse of leprosy. These people are hated of the Lord as a nation. These people are the wicked. These people are the people that the Lord has indignation forever. So how in the hell can Caleb be an Edomite, Job be an Edomite, Cornelius be an Edomite? Come on, man. The people are retarded out there that believe that. You're simply retarded. That's what the Lord said, that their fear towards me is taught by the precept of men. All right, so now, moving on to the last point that I have, and that being that the tribe of Dan, because Vocab said, you know, so you believe that Revelation 7 is literal. He said, so what happened to the tribe of Dan? Well, one scripture we're going to start off with is the book of 1 Corinthians. Let's start off with that first, because we don't know what happened to the tribe of Dan. We don't know exactly what happened to the tribe of Dan. The scriptures are not specific as to what happened, but you have people out there that are trying to make, you know, the tribe of Dan an issue, you know, as far as the 12 tribes are concerned. But this, I'm gonna read this first, and then we're gonna get into some other points on that point. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 9. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. So when Yahushua comes back, we're going to know exactly what happened to the tribe of Dan. We could only speculate right now, you know, and being that the vibration of the nation of Israel is 12 tribes. No, we believe strongly that the tribe of Dan was amalgamated into the other tribes. There's no scripture on that, you know, but we believe that that's what happened. You know, there's no way to prove that, but when Yahushua comes back, he's going to make known exactly what took place, what happened, you know, with the tribe of Dan. So the Revelation, the 12th chapter, and you know what's funny, right? Revelation, the 12th chapter, check this out. Vocab will say that's not literal, right? He'll say that that's not literal in the book of Revelation 7 because the tribe of Dan is not mentioned. But then when you jump to the 9th verse, the multitude with all different nations and tongues and people, he's saying that that's literal. That's talking about the actual nation. But the part about the 12 tribes, nope, that's not literal. See how retarded this is, man? When you really start to sit down and analyze what these people are saying and really go into scrutinizing, you know, and taking apart their statements and their arguments. It's madness, man. The 12 tribes part in Revelation 7 is not literal, according to Vocab, but the multitude of the people of all different nations and tongues, you know, that's literal. Why? Because it seems like it's talking about all people. But the part about the 12 tribes, nah, that's not literal. That's figurative. So what about the 9th verse? Yeah, that's actually literal. Vocab is a big retard, a big fat snakehead devil, man. So reading on, for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of these is charity. So for now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then shall I know even as also I am known. So when the kingdom is established, and when Yahushua comes back and the kingdom is established, then we're going to know perfectly what happened to the tribe of Dan. But the point is that there is a vibration of 12 tribes. There's not a vibration of 13 tribes or 14 tribes or 11 tribes. The vibration is 12. Now let's go to Genesis 49 and 1. The vibration is 12. That is a perfect number to the Lord. That's why you have 12 years in a month. You know, you have the so-called 12 zodiacs. You have the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. There's a vibration of 12 that the Lord is dealing with. Genesis 49:1. And Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Now we jumping down to verse 28. Because it gives you the characteristics and the things that the tribes of Israel would be suffering in the latter days, which we're in the latter days now. Verse 28. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is it that their father spake unto them and blessed them every one according to his blessing. He blessed them. So the tribe of Dan is mentioned in here, but there's not very much information given. But when you read the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, the tribe of Dan does not appear there. But what is the vibration? There's still 12 tribes, because it says 12,000 out of all the tribes, which makes up the 144,000. It doesn't say the 12,000 out of all 13 tribes. Out of the 12 tribes. Why? Because eventually the tribe of Levi, which wasn't a tribe back then, would become a tribe. And Joseph's two sons would also become tribes, and we're going to get to that. Now let's go from there to Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 44. And here it is, 2020. We still have to address these issues, because you still have devils out there that are trying to hinder the building of the temple of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Ecclesiasticus 44:12. Did I write something down wrong? Just bear with me 1 second. All right. 21. Therefore he assured him, meaning Abraham, by an oath, that he would bless the nations in his seed. Why? Because the Israelites will be scattered among all nations, and they will become nations. Each tribe is as big as a nation. And that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed, singular, as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea, and from the river unto the utmost part of the land. And we see that in the scriptures. With Isaac he did establish likewise, for Abraham his father's sake, the blessing of all men and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him an heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes did he part them. So the vibration is 12, not 13, not 14, not 11, not 10. The vibration is 12. Now, what happened? Let's go from there to the book of Ezekiel 47:13. Ezekiel chapter 47 verse 13. Thus saith the Lord power, this shall be the border whereby you shall inherit the land according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? According to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 portions. Joseph shall have 2 portions. Now, let's go to Genesis 48. And let's start at verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Joseph and said, behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, the power Almighty appeared unto me, at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me, and said unto me, Behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee a multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed, singular, after thee for an everlasting possession. Now listen to this, verse 5. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So what happened? Israel incorporated the tribe of Manasseh and the tribe of Ephraim into the 12 tribes. Let me read it again. It says, and now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. So they're going to be a part of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Now let's jump down to verse 16. And the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. So when we jump to Ezekiel 47:13 again, thus saith the Lord power, this shall be the border whereby you shall inherit the land according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Joseph shall have 2 portions. That's the reason why when we read Revelation, the 7th chapter, the tribe of Dan does not appear there, because Joseph would have 2 portions. Joseph will have 2 portions. Let's go to Joseph will have 2 portions. Let's go to the book of Numbers 1 and 32. Numbers 1 and 32. Of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim. Why? Because Joseph's name would be named or put up or placed upon Ephraim. So that's why the name of Joseph and the name of Ephraim are interchangeable. Because the Lord told him of the children of Joseph, namely of the children of Ephraim, because the name of Joseph will be placed upon Ephraim. That's why when we read Revelation 7, right? Let me get the other Bible. This one is kind of... Let's go to Revelation chapter 7. And 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So what did we read? Now, when we jump down to the 8th verse, of the tribe of Zebulun, which sealed 12,000, of the tribe of Joseph. Now, why did it say Joseph? Because Joseph and Ephraim are interchangeable. Because when you read the 6th verse, of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000, of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000, of the tribe of Manasseh or Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Because Joseph's father Jacob gave 2 portions to Joseph in his sons, and he said that the sons of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh, were going to be his, just like Simeon and Reuben were his. Because it said that Simeon and Reuben. Let me just make sure of that. Reuben and Simeon, yep. So that's why they're a part of the 12 tribes. That's why the name of Dan does not appear in Revelation, the 7th chapter. Vocab. And I bet you if somebody was to ask him Revelation 7:9, is that literal? He would say yes. You know why? Because he said it before. Because they think that that's a loophole for the nations to get in. And this is what the whole hatred goes back to, the nations not being accepted. So they got to find a way to try to disrupt the building of the spiritual temple, the tabernacles of David, as we read in another lesson. And that's what it is. Seeing that they don't have an inclusion into this, they're trying to uh, dismantle the building of the tabernacle of David that's happening right before the world's eyes. But you're not going to be able to do that, man. So the vibration is 12. Let's go real quick, James 1:1. The vibration is 12, not 13, not 11, not 10, 12. James 1:1. James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushai, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greeting. So how could the Lord make room for 12 tribes if the tribe of Dan would have been added to Revelation 7? There would have been 13 tribes, because the Spirit of the Lord through the mouth of Jacob said that Ephraim and Manasseh were going to be his. They were going to be a part of the inheritance of the tribes, just like Reuben and Simeon are his. And that is the great mystery. But then in the kingdom of heaven, we will find out what happened to the tribe of Dan. You know, and we believe that they've been amalgamated among the other tribes. You know, the tribe of Dan is just among all the other tribes. They didn't go anywhere. They're just among the other tribes, but they're not being called Dan, because in the future, Revelation 7, the 12 tribes will be given to the nation of Israel. You know, and the numbers are the tribes were already spoken of, you know, in the book of Revelation 7, because the vibration is 12 vocab, not 13. And if the Lord would have added Dan in there, it would have been 13 tribes, not 12. Because eventually the tribe of Levi will become a tribe. Why? Because all of the nation of Israel will become priests and kings. That's why in the book of Hebrews 7, it says that the priesthood being changed. Why? Because all of the Lord promised the whole nation that of Israel, of the men of Israel, that they will all be priests and kings. And that's why we won't have to teach each other anymore, because the laws will be placed into our inward parts. But you can't see it because you're the devil, a big fat head snake devil. That's what you are, and that's why you can't see it. And when we read Revelation 21:12, and had a wall great and high dealing with the kingdom of heaven, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. And it doesn't mention them by name here, because of the vibration is 12. But the Lord gave the number of the ones that were sealed in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter, which are going to be the men of the governing body of the nation of Israel. Let's go to Matthew 27. I'm sorry, not 27. Matthew 19 and 27. It says, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, meaning in the reincarnation, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. The vibration is 12, not 11, not 10, not 13, not 14, 12. And that's the reason why the tribe of Dan is not mentioned in Revelation 7, because the vibration is 12. Ephraim and Manasseh were going to be a part of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Just like the Lord told, through the mouth of Jacob, told Joseph. And that's why in Revelation 7, it appears as the tribe of Joseph, which is interchangeable with the tribe of Ephraim. Same thing. So those have been the 3 points, that I wanted to address today. And there's many other precepts and scriptures, and that's a good one. Yep, the brother Hebrew Israelite Yakanan. Yeah, I had actually posted that one in the comment board of Karataza from Vegas. Let's see. That's a very good one too. Acts 26 and 6. And now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High unto our fathers, unto which promise our 12 tribes, instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come, for which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews. So the vibration is 12 tribes, 12 tribes, 12 tribes, 12 tribes, 12 tribes, 12 tribes, vocab, you get it? You know? So like I said, we don't really know exactly what happened to the tribe of Dan, but we know that when the kingdom is established, we'll find out. But the vibration is 12 tribes. Yeah, little puppy coming. The vibration is 12 tribes. Okay? 12 tribes. You get it, vocab? That's why the tribe of Dan is not mentioned in Revelation, the 7th chapter. And I bet you if somebody was to ask that devil, I'm saying it for the third, fourth time, I don't know how many times, I bet you somebody was to ask that devil, is Revelation 7 and 9 with the multitude of people of different nations and tongues, is that literal? He will say yes. And those are all Israelites that have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Israelite foreigners. All right? So with that, that's been the addressing, points. Those are the three major points. Dealing with, Numbers, the 10th chapter, the memorial of blowing of the trumpet, which Numbers 10 is just the blowing of the trumpets. We addressed the word calling, assembly, congregation, and convocation in the Hebrew. And then we broke it down as an etymology, So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.